Hello, this is Kim Patterson again. I'm in real time. I really am in real time. How many know that sometimes you have plans for the day and the Lord comes along and says, no, I have something else for you to do? Well, today is one of those days. I have an appointment this morning, but I really felt the urgency to come on and share with you what God was speaking to me today before I go on that appointment. So I hope I don't sound like I'm in a hurry, but yeah, God sometimes just doesn't care what you've got going on. So, and I wanted to be obedient because I love him so much. So I wanted to come on and share with you. What he was talking to me today about is more about the repeat. I know that I mentioned that in yesterday's talk about how this was a repeat, or you get to repeat. And he just wanted me to come on and share a little bit more about what he means by that, so that we can have a better understanding of the repeat. So what I want to share with you first is, again, referring back to time and the clock. If you'll notice, the clock goes around, the hands go around the clock twice within a 24-hour period. The first time it goes around, it's AM, and then the second time it goes around, it's PM. We understand this about time, and the times are exactly the same, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Then the PM comes, and again, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all right? So this is the repeat that I am referring to. Here's what's interesting, though. In the Jewish culture, their day starts at sunset, roughly 6 o'clock. Okay, this is when their day begins at sunset, and they experience night for the first go around of the clock. And then the morning comes and they get the repeat. And when you look at this spiritually, this is just a wonderful parallel, because what God is saying is, the first time you do something, you're in darkness. You don't have full understanding because you don't see everything the way you should. And I'm thinking of more of the messages and the times that I've been talking about and that I've been sharing with you. The first time that he gave me words and the first time I was working through these things, I didn't have full understanding because I was in the first go around. I was in the evening. I was in the dark. Okay. But the second time, when the dawn comes, when the day breaks, when the light shines in, the darkness goes, and we have better understanding. We can see things clearer in the day than we can at night. That's just a fact. And so the repeat and the second time around is a clearer understanding of what's going on. And so therefore we can look again. All right, this is the message that the Lord wants me to share with you. Is the repeat is about taking a second look. It's about looking again, okay? And I want to talk about a couple places in the Bible where he has us do this, okay? So the first one is in 1 Kings 18. Specifically 43, but kind of that whole section if you want to go there in your Bible. And this is where Elijah is praying for rain, and he sends his servant to go up the mountain and look for rain. Okay, he has this servant go 7 times up the mountain to look for rain. Every time the servant comes back and he says, no, there's no cloud, there's nothing. And on the 7th time, he says, go look again. And so the servant goes up the mountain, and now this time he sees just a little cloud in the shape of like a fist. And he comes back and he reports it. And boy, that is all Elijah knew. He started running and prophesying that the rain was coming. Okay. There's another place in the Bible, John 4:38, if you'll go there. And it's where Jesus is speaking to his disciples about the harvest. And he points out how in the natural, it takes 4 months for between seed and harvest. But then he says, but look again. I tell you right now, the field is ripe for the harvest. Okay, so this looking again is what I want to talk to you about. And this is why we're in the repeat, is so we can look again. The first look is in the natural. We look at things around us. We look at what's happening. We look in the sky for clouds. We look to the field to see if the crops are coming up. Our first look is we are always looking at what's happening in the natural, what's going on. And God says, look again. Look with spiritual eyes. Now you need to take a look in spiritual terms and a spiritual sense. Okay. So what does this mean? Okay, look again. Because all yesterday I was talking about how we have to look to the one, look to God. Well, what does that look like? How do you look? All right. So our first look, if it's about what is God doing. So the first time that we get this go around, we're looking to the outside. We're like, okay, what's going on? What's happening? I want to see God's activity. I want to see where he's working. Do I see God in this? We are looking outside of ourselves to the natural to find God. And we're hoping that we see him. And if we get a glimpse at him, that maybe then he'll bless us. Maybe he'll rescue us. Maybe he will help us. This is the first look, okay? The second look has got to be a spiritual look where we change our focus. We're not looking for God outside. We're looking for God inside. Okay, this is our look again. Because what God does, he'll give us a clearer picture when we'll look within ourselves to see what he's doing. Because God works on the inside, and then he releases from that point. He doesn't release from outside and outside circumstances to you. Yes, he brings blessings upon you, but when you look to God, you have to look within, because what he's doing is happening within you. This is why if you are in let's say troubled relationship or hard circumstances, you are hoping that your circumstance will change. You are hoping that that person that you have difficulty with will change. And for some reason, it never seems to happen. And why is that? Because that's not what God is trying to change. He's trying to change you. He's trying to reach you from the inside. He wants to do a work in you that changes you so that you can release outward the change, the blessing, the help. Okay? So this is what we have to do, is stop looking outwardly for God and find him inside. Okay, now we all know that Jesus dwells within our hearts, and when we invite Jesus into our hearts, we know that's where he is. But for some reason, then we forget that. We forget he's in there, and we start looking outside everywhere for him. Okay, and this is not where we're going to find him. Yesterday, I talked a lot about Jesus being on the throne and how we have to see him on the throne of our hearts. This is what I'm talking about, is when we begin to take that look inward and we see that he's enthroned with inside us, then he becomes those things to us. So let's say that we are looking to him for help. He only becomes the helper as we see him as the helper inside of us. When I first started my walk, I wanted to learn about the Bible, and I really had this Bible teacher that I looked up to, and I thought, oh boy, if I could just, see the word the way she sees the word, I just thought that would be the greatest thing. And so I would start to study the Bible, and I knew she was a great teacher, but I didn't want to look to her as my teacher. I wanted to have the teacher myself. I wanted the teacher within me. So I began to see Jesus as my teacher. And he would then release teaching to me. He would begin to fill me with his teaching. He would begin to fill me with his wisdom. He released that to me. And then once I became filled with the teacher, then I release teaching. And that becomes part of who I am, because the God who is on the throne of my heart, who is teacher to me, gave me teaching, which then I can give teaching. And that's how it works. That's how, so when I say whatever you need, look to him. Make him that sits on the throne. If you need comfort, if you need wisdom, whatever it is you need, begin to look to him, see him inside as that for you. Okay? What happens is when you do that, what he's doing is he is building his throne. He's constructing it, and it's personal to you, because as you see him, that becomes part of the throne, because now you're looking to him as that for you. Okay, so he is building within you the throne that he sits upon, and he becomes that for you and then releases it to you as you look. God's names, they're not just names, but they're what he does. So Jehovah Rapha means healer, and he releases healing as Jehovah Rapha. Jehovah Jireh means provision. And so that means he's the God of provision. That's not just his name, but then he releases provision to you and for you. So this is how, when you look to him, he becomes his name. He becomes that which you're looking at, and he releases it to you, and then you are able to release. He releases it then through you. As you see him, that's what he becomes to you. So what you need him to do for you, you have to first see him as that. And that's taking a second look at God. That's readjusting how you look and where you look. Because he dwells inside you, everything gets released from inside you. Okay? Everything that you need will be released to you inside you. And so you will experience him within you. Before you'll experience anything going on out and around you, you have to first experience him within. And I think too many people are looking for God outside themselves, out in the world, out in other believers, out in their relationships, in their circumstances, in their homes. They're looking for God all around them. And you're going to see him, and you're going to experience them when you look again and look from within you. Look at him who is within you, and he will then be enthroned and magnified. He will become bigger, and he will become bigger in your life. And then you will start to see him all around you on the outside, because he's the God who's within us before he can ever be the God who is around us. So I hope that you are blessed by this message. I felt very urgently to come on and tell you that, because I know it can be confusing when people come and say, well, just look at God for what you need. Well, how do you do that? How does that look? So I hope this helped. I hope that you will go and you will look at those verses and get revelation for yourself. Get God for yourself inside of you. Look to him for what you need, because he is the answer, but the answer is not outside of you, it's within. God bless you all. And I just want to pray for you before I go. Oh, Heavenly Father, your word is amazing. I love you. I love you. I love you. Your word is life and breath to me. It gets planted in our hearts, and right there inside our heart is where it takes root, and that's where it begins to grow, so that we can see you better, so that we can know you better. Lord, I pray for my friends today that they will get in your word and find out who you are, find out all your attributes, everything that you are, and let them begin to put one by one each of those attributes, each of your names on the throne of their heart, and then look to you. Look to you, because Lord, your word promises that as we draw close to you, you draw close to us. So let them put you there, and then you will begin to draw them closer and closer. I thank you because you're faithful to do it. You keep every promise. Your word is eternal, and you do not change. And I'm so thankful that in the changing times that we live in, you don't change. Jesus.